Hello, and welcome to the Blackmore Library Nursing Informatics presentation. My name is Anna Bazaha, and I'm the Graduate Research Librarian at Blackmore Library. I am also the liaison to the nursing department. I have included my direct contact information in this presentation, so if you ever have any issues using the library, doing research, or accessing library resources, please feel free to contact me. You can also ask questions of any reference librarian at the reference desk. During this presentation, we will cover a variety of topics, beginning with a brief look at the library's website. We will then go through how to set up a RefWorks account. We will discuss some search tools and strategies that you can use when searching to hopefully make your searches more efficient. Then go through a couple sample searches in the databases. And finally, we will return to RefWorks to see how this system works. You can access the library's website at www.capital.edu/library. You can also access it from the Current Students page. In the center of the screen, you will see there is a search box. This is used when you would like to search within OneSearch or the library's catalogs. You will notice there are 3 tabs in this search box, so it is important to pay attention to which tab you are searching. The first tab is OneSearch. OneSearch is a new way to search multiple library resources. It will bring back results from the library catalog, the OhioLINK catalog, and nearly all of the library's databases, including non-nursing databases. Because it is searching so many places at once, the results list will usually be very large. You can see here that my search for nursing informatics has brought back over 100,000 results. It will also include a wide variety of material types, such as books, DVDs, scholarly journal articles, news articles, online videos, and more. Because it is such a large search, it is important to use the limiters on the left-hand side of the screen. This will allow you to better limit your search to the materials you are interested in. OneSearch is intended for exploration and discovery on a topic, so it can be a place to begin your research and see what type of information may be available. The second tab will take you into the Classic Catalog. This is the traditional library catalog, which will bring back just materials owned here at Capital. You can see that my same search for nursing informatics brought back just 71 results in the Classic Catalog, so it is a much smaller search. You will see in the results the location and call number for the materials. Most nursing items will be in the 600s, which are located on the 3rd floor of the library. Just make sure the item you are interested in says it is available before you go up into the stacks to find it. You may find the Classic Catalog to be an easier search interface if you have a specific author or title in mind. For example, if you want to see if we might have your textbook available. It may also be easier if you are only interested in materials that are up in the stacks. If you don't see the item you are looking for, you can click on the OhioLINK button at the top of the screen. This will rerun your search in the OhioLINK catalog. You can also go directly to OhioLINK by searching in the 3rd tab of the search box. OhioLINK is a library consortium in which over 90 libraries throughout the state have agreed to share materials. So if there is a material that you are interested in that Capital does not own, or we do own it but it is checked out, you can see if another university, such as Case Western, OSU, or University of Toledo, might have it. Once you have found the material you would like, make sure that at least one copy says it is available. If it says local circ only or library use only, that means that you would not be able to request it. Just click the request button and enter your information. During this process, it will ask for your barcode number. This is the number located on the back of your Capital ID. Once it is requested, the material will be shipped here to our circulation desk, and you can check it out just like you would a normal Blackmore Library item. Please note, this process usually takes about 3 to 5 business days. Another resource you can access from the library's homepage is LibGuides. LibGuides are subject-specific online guides which the library has created for virtually every subject on campus. We have attempted to collect all the library information for each subject into one convenient place. On the Nursing LibGuide, you will see tabs with information on how to find nursing books and articles. There are also tabs with information on different helpful nursing websites, NCLEX study materials, APA style, and career resources. If you are ever unsure of where to start your research, you can begin by looking at the Nursing LibGuide for helpful tips. You can manage your library account online by clicking on the My Account link from the library's homepage. You will be asked to enter your name and barcode information. From here, you can see what you have checked out and the due dates, renew materials online, and check the status of an OhioLINK request. The library provides Capital students with free access to RefWorks. RefWorks is a citation management system which allows users to collect and organize their references as well as automatically format their bibliographies. To access RefWorks, click on the RefWorks link on the library's homepage. This will take you to the RefWorks login screen. If you do not already have a RefWorks account, you can click on Sign Up for a New Account and enter your information. Please be sure to make a note of the username and password you select so that you can access the system in the future. Your information does not have to match your Capital login credentials. In fact, this system goes out to a wider user group than just Capital students, so you may find that your username is already in use. If this is the case, you will need to create a new username specifically for RefWorks. The library has also created a LibGuide just for RefWorks, which you can use to answer many questions about the system. There are detailed instructions on how to access RefWorks from off-campus, import references, and create your bibliography. There are also a number of really great tutorials you can watch, which cover many of the most common tasks. For now, we will set RefWorks aside so that we can go into the databases and search for articles. However, we will return to RefWorks towards the end of this presentation to look at it more closely. When searching for articles in the databases, it is important to pay close attention to how you put your keywords into the system. Most databases will not understand what you want if you put in a complete sentence, such as your research question. You will need to first break up your topic into its main concepts, then brainstorm different keywords for these concepts, and finally, combine the keywords using Boolean operators. The first Boolean operator is AND. AND will tell the database that you want both of the search terms to be present somewhere in the results, typically in the title, abstract, or subject headings. For example, dog and rescue. This will tell the database that both the keyword dog and the keyword rescue must appear somewhere in the results. AND is going to act as a narrower, and you will get fewer results back. So if you do an initial search and get 5,000 results, you may want to consider ANDing in an additional term to help narrow and focus your search. Conversely, if you do a search and only get 5 results, but you look up into the search box and see that you have 10 ANDs, you may want to consider removing an ANDed term to broaden your search back out. The second Boolean operator is OR. OR is going to tell the database that either of the terms is fine, as long as at least one appears somewhere in the results. OR is typically used for synonyms or similar terms. For example, dog or canine. It is important to brainstorm all the different ways that people may refer to your concept. If you were to only search for dog, you may miss a whole chunk of the literature, which uses the more scientific term of canine. Within nursing, you may see this frequently with the medical versus common names for things, such as cancer or oncology. There may also be different ways to refer to a population group. For example, senior citizens or older people or geriatric. If you do an initial search and only get a few results back, take a look at your search terms to make sure you are including all the different synonyms there may be for your concept. The last Boolean operator is NOT. NOT will exclude a term from your search. For example, dog, not pit bull. You will want to be a little cautious when you use NOT, as it is very easy to inadvertently exclude too much. With the previous example, you may be interested in small dogs and choose to exclude pit bulls from your search. However, there could potentially be an article which provides a compare and contrast of Chihuahuas and pit bulls, which would have tons of great information for you on small dogs, but you would then not see it in your results because it happens to also mention pit bulls. Another tool you can use in database searching is Truncation. Truncation allows you to easily search for multiple forms of a word. Simply cut the keyword you are using down to its root and add the truncation symbol, which is typically an asterisk. This will tell the database to search for all forms of the word, regardless of how they end. For example, searching for truncated photograph will bring back photograph, photographs, photography, and photographer. This can help your search in two ways. First, there may be forms of the word that you did not think about. For example, in the previous search, I did not list photographers or photographic as possible results. The database will catch this and still bring back those results for me. Second, this can help keep your search a little simpler. Instead of having 10 ORs in your search box to account for every form of the word, you can just put the truncated keyword in once. A couple things to keep in mind when using truncation. Different databases can sometimes use different symbols for truncation. The asterisk is the most common, and it is the symbol we will use in the databases today. However, I have seen other databases that use the $sign as well. If you are ever unsure or are getting back results you would not expect, you can check the help screen within the database you are using, and it will tell you which symbol to use. The other thing to be aware of is to make sure that you do not truncate the words too far. If you search for a rather generic root, it may bring back a lot of irrelevant results. For example, searching for a truncated cat could bring back results for cat, Cathy, Catholic, catfish, and catheter. You will want to pay special attention to where you cut your words when using truncation. Make sure you are cutting off enough of the word to get all the forms, but also not cutting off too much so that your results are cluttered with unneeded information. One tip is to always cut the E off of verbs. This will bring back the ing forms of the verb as well. For example, when searching nursing, truncate after the S to get nurse, nurses, and nursing. You can also use quotation marks when searching for exact phrases. If you have a standard phrase that is used to describe your topic, put it into quotation marks to keep those keywords together. For example, college education. Without quotation marks, the database may split up these keywords, and it could bring back results which mention college in one section and education in another, but are not actually talking about college education. Other examples could be intensive care unit or pancreatic cancer, anytime it is a standard multi-word phrase. Finally, you can also use parentheses to nest your keywords. When you have more than one keyword which may refer to a concept, you can group them together in parentheses. For example, in the search shown, we have our keywords for the first concept, mouse or rat. We then have our Boolean and then the keyword for our second concept, trap. With the parentheses in place, the database will search for results which say either mouse or rat, and also say trap. If we were to remove the parentheses, the database would then search for items which say mouse, or items which say both rat and trap. As you can see, this could drastically change the results list. We will now take a look at a sample search in the databases. To access the databases, click on the Find Articles link on the library's homepage. This will take you to an alphabetical listing of every database we have access to at Capital. If you know the database you want to search, you can go straight to it. However, if you are not sure which database you want to search, you can also click on the tab at the top of the screen to see a listing by subject. Then select Nursing to see all the nursing databases. At Capital, the majority of our databases are through EBSCOhost. EBSCOhost is a database company which provides us access to a number of different databases. It is not a database in and of itself. This is a listing of some of the different medical databases that we have access to through Ebsco. Since they are all through Ebsco, you can search as many or as few as you would like. The primary database that you will use in nursing is CINAHL, which stands for the Cumulative Index to Nursing and Allied Health Literature. This is a great nursing database which has a lot of good scholarly information in it, as well as a lot of full text. This would be the database I would recommend you always start your search in. Ebsco also provides us access to HealthSource Nursing Academic Edition, a good supplementary database with additional nursing information. Since they are both through Ebsco, you can search them simultaneously to increase your results. If you are ever searching on an alternative treatment or holistic medicine topic, I would recommend you also add Alt Health Watch to your search. We also have access to Medline through Ebsco. There's then HealthSource Consumer Edition. Be careful that when you choose to search Health Source, that you are selecting the Nursing Edition and not the Consumer Edition, as they will have very different information in them. We then have access to the Cochrane databases for evidence-based medicine, and also the Nursing Reference Center. If you are off campus, you can log in to access the databases using the barcode number on the back of your Capital ID. This will authenticate you as a current Capital student. When you click on a database, you will be presented with this screen and asked to enter your last name and barcode number. If you have any trouble accessing the databases from off campus, please either stop by or call the library and we can troubleshoot the issue. This is what the Ebsco search screen will look like. At the top of the screen, you will see a search box where you can enter your keywords. But before we do that, we will want to select our databases. You can click on the Choose Databases link above the search box to add additional databases to your search. I began my search in CINAHL and then added in Health Source Nursing Academic Edition to broaden my search. Depending on your topic, you may choose to also add other databases, such as Alt Health Watch or PsycInfo. What databases you search will change with each project and depend on your topic. Once you have your databases selected, you can begin entering your keywords. Here I have entered the search medication errors and NURS. You can see I put the phrase medication errors into quotation marks because this was a standard phrase and I wanted the keywords to stay together. I then have my Boolean and then the keyword for my second concept, nurse, which I have truncated after the S to get nurse, nurses, and nursing. When I ran this search, it brought me back approximately 4,900 results. This number will most likely be different if you run the search today because the databases are constantly adding new materials. This is kind of a broad search, so I would want to see about narrowing it down a bit. I may want to look back at my keywords and see if anding in an additional keyword may help. Or I can look to the left-hand side of the screen for some recommended limiters. We can see that Ebsco has a limiter available for peer-reviewed journals. You will frequently want scholarly peer-reviewed information for your research, so we can go ahead and click on this limiter to help narrow the types of resources that are in the results list. We can also set a date limiter. Typically, you will want very recent information for your research. In nursing, you will often want only the past 3 to 5 years. So you can set this date range easily with the limiter on the left-hand side of the screen. By setting these two limiters, I have now reduced my results to approximately 1,300 results. This means that more than 2/3 of the original results were either too old or not scholarly. Ebsco has also started a breadbox of my search on the left-hand side so that I can keep track of the limiters I have in place. If I decide I want to change a limiter, I can simply X off that particular limiter to rerun the search. I'm making good progress in my search, but 1,300 is still a little big. I may want to again take a look at my keywords, but I can also look at the other limiters that Ebsco offers in the left sidebar. When I scroll down, I see a limiter available for subject major heading. This will indicate that a particular subject heading has been applied to the articles. The first one listed is medication errors. You can also get ideas for other keywords you may want to try in your search from the subject headings, such as drug administration. By clicking on the medication error subject heading, I have now limited my search down to 568 results. So with essentially just 2 clicks, I have gone from 4,900 to 500 results, and these are hopefully much more focused to the information I'm looking for. If I want to start browsing the results to see if they are on target, I can hover my cursor over the magnifying glass icon to see a pop-up containing more information about the article, including the beginning of the abstract. This is nice because it allows me to easily and quickly browse the results without having to click back and forth. As you are searching, you may want to mark articles to save for later. Frequently, I will collect 15 or 20 articles into my folder and then come back later to look at them more closely and choose the 5 or 10 I want to use. To do this, you can create a temporary folder by clicking on the folder icon next to each item you are interested in. When you click on this icon, it will change to show a folder with a piece of paper in it. At any time, you can then click on the folder link at the top of the screen to view the contents of your folder. From the folder view, you can go back through the articles you have marked and select the ones you want to use. You can also print or email the citations from this screen. This can be helpful if you are working with a group and you want to share the articles that you have found. You can simply select the articles you want, then click the email link to send them the information. This is also where you can export the information over to RefWorks. If you have an item that you are using in your research, you can select it and click the export link. Direct export to RefWorks should be automatically selected, and you can just click Save to transfer that information. RefWorks will then pop up in a new tab or window and transfer the citation information over to your RefWorks account. It's important to note that this Ebsco folder is temporary. If you close your browser or your computer freezes, the contents of this folder will most likely be gone. So you want to be sure you do something with these articles before you leave your search session. You can also create a free My Ebsco host account to save these items to a permanent folder. Just click the Sign In to My Ebsco host link at the top of the screen. If you do not yet have an Ebsco host account, click on Sign Up for a new account and enter your information. Once you have an account created, you can make it a habit to always sign in at the beginning of your search, and all the items you mark for your folder will be saved permanently under your username. Once you have found some materials you are interested in, you will need to go about finding the full text. There are a couple different ways that you can access the full text of articles. First, you may see a PDF full text link. If you see this link, you can click it to load the PDF and either read it online, print it out, or save it to a flash drive. If you don't see a link for the PDF, you may see a link that says Search for Full Text. If you see this link, go ahead and click on it, and the database will do its best to connect you with the full text in another location. Remember, I am currently only searching in 2 databases, but we have access to many more resources here at Capitol. By clicking the Search for Full Text link, the system will try to connect me with the full text in another database, such as the EJC. The other link you may see will be to request this item through interlibrary loan. That means that we most likely do not have access to this item through Capitol. However, we can try to get a copy from another institution. Just click the link and complete your information. We will attempt to request a copy from another library and then send it to you. This process can take several days, so be sure to submit these ILL requests early if there is something you would like to see. We will now take a look at another database, ProQuest Nursing and Allied Health Source. Just as Ebsco is a database company which provides us access to a number of nursing databases, ProQuest is also a database company which provides us access to this additional resource. You will typically want to try CINAHL and the Ebsco databases first, but if you are having trouble finding enough articles, you may also want to try searching in ProQuest to see if you can find any additional information. To access ProQuest, you can either scroll through the alphabetical listing to the P's, or you will see it listed in the Databases by Subject nursing list. The ProQuest search screen will function very similarly to Ebsco, but it will look a little different. At the top of the screen, you can see that I have entered my search terms into the search box. You can use all the same search tools in ProQuest, including Boolean Operators, Truncation, quotation marks, and parentheses. You can also go ahead and click on the peer-reviewed limiter right away. Here I did a search for telemetry and patient safety, which brought me back 334 results. I can then limit my search if I'd like, using the limiters on the right-hand side of the screen. ProQuest will offer many of the same limiters as Ebsco, including date limiters, subject headings, and source types. Within the results, you will see options for the citation and abstract, the HTML full text, and PDF full text when available. You can also hover your cursor over the preview link to see additional information about the article. You can then select articles by clicking the check mark next to the items you are interested in. Click on Export or Save at the top of the screen. This is where you would click if you would like to export an item over to your RefWorks account. Just as Ebsco allows you to create a My Ebsco host account, ProQuest has My Research. If you would like to create a permanent ProQuest My Research account, simply click on the link at the top of the screen. An interesting note about ProQuest is that you can link your RefWorks and ProQuest My Research accounts so that they sync together. As you can see here, this reference, which is in my ProQuest My Research account, is actually a non-ProQuest reference from my RefWorks account. It can get a little confusing to use all of these accounts, so if you have questions, please let me know. Now we will return to take a closer look at RefWorks. Within the database sample searches, we saw how to export citations over to our RefWorks account. Once you have some references in your account, it will begin to look like this, and you will see a list of all the references you have collected. At the top of the screen, you will see a variety of menus and quick links to help manage your account. You can create folders to organize your references, create your bibliographies, and search your personal database of references. In addition to direct exporting citations from the databases, you can also enter them manually using the new reference link. On the right-hand side of the screen, you will see some additional quick links as well as the folders you have created. To create a folder, simply click on the new folder link at the top of the screen. This will bring up a box where you can name the folder whatever you would like. You can organize your RefWorks references into whatever makes the most sense to you. Some people may group them by topic or project or even class. You can create however many folders you would like. To put a reference into a folder, click the gray bar above the reference and drag it over to the folder. Make sure that your cursor is on top of the folder you want and the folder box is highlighted. One thing to note is that you are not actually moving the references to the folder. It is more like you are tagging them. As such, you can have a reference in more than one folder. And you can always go back to your full list of references. This is the complete list of every reference you have in your account by clicking on the All References link at the top of the list. Another useful feature of RefWorks is to input your own personal notes into the reference. These notes will not show up in your bibliography, but will allow you to keep all the information you have about an article, including your personal thoughts, in one place. These notes can be whatever you would like, but some examples of what you could include in personal notes might be things like good statistics, page 75, or quote, page 36. Anything that might help you remember what you found useful or interesting within the article. To enter personal notes, click on the piece of paper with a pencil to edit the reference. From this screen, you can edit a number of different fields within the reference. Scroll through the pop-up box and click on Additional Fields. This will expand out a number of supplementary fields where you can then find a field for personal notes. Once you have entered your personal notes, be sure to click on Save Reference at the bottom of the box to save your changes. Once you have entered personal notes, they become searchable within your RefWorks account. At the top of the screen, you can click on Advanced Search. Then select Personal Notes from the drop-down menu and enter your search terms. When you are viewing a reference in RefWorks, you may want to go back to the database where you originally found it to see more information or find the full text. To do this, click on the magnifying glass icon to view the full reference. Towards the bottom of the box, you will see a link which can take you back to the source of that reference, either in Ebsco or another database. When exporting citations to RefWorks, you are only bringing over the citation information. It does not automatically bring over the full text of the article. To do this, you must complete a few additional steps. Click on the Edit Reference icon to add an attachment. Above Additional Fields, you will see a place for uploading attachments. Click Browse and select the file that you want to attach to the reference. Be sure to click Save when you are done. Please note, before uploading the full text of an article to RefWorks, you will need to first go back to the database and save the PDF locally, either on your hard drive or a flash drive. Once you have saved the file locally, you can then go into RefWorks to upload the file and attach it to the reference. After you have attached the PDF full text of an article, you will see a small paperclip icon next to the reference. Simply hover your mouse over the paperclip to see the attachments. Then click on the title of the attachment you would like to open. You can have more than one attachment on a reference. For example, if you write a brief annotation of an article or summary paper, you may also want to attach that document to keep everything in one place. RefWorks also offers a tool called Write-N-Cite, which allows you to insert your citations as you are typing your paper in Word. This is an add-on which you must download and install on your personal computer before using. To install Write-N-Cite, click on Tools at the top of the screen, then select Write-N-Cite from the drop-down menu. This will take you to a screen with a link to download the program. If you experience issues installing Write-N-Cite or prefer to not install it on your personal computer, it is also available on all the computers in the library for you to use. Write-N-Cite is available for both Mac and Windows operating systems. And since everybody's system is a little different, please feel free to contact me if you experience issues and we can set up an appointment to try and get it installed. Once you have Write-N-Cite installed, you will see a tab in Word for RefWorks or ProQuest. To log into RefWorks, click on this tab. Then click on the Login button. It will ask you to enter your RefWorks login credentials. After you've logged in, you will now see the option to insert citations and create bibliographies directly within Word. This can be used for inserting parenthetical citations as you are typing. If you quote or reference someone in your paper and need to enter the in-text citation, simply click on Insert Citation and select the article you are citing. Write-N-Cite will automatically format a parenthetical citation for this item and insert it into your paper. Check that you have APA 6th edition selected in the drop-down menu to ensure the citations are formatted correctly. In addition, Write-N-Cite will also track all the citations that you insert using this system. For example, if you use Write-N-Cite to insert parenthetical citations for 10 different articles throughout your paper, when you get to the end of the paper, you can then click on Bibliography options to insert a bibliography of these 10 items. Write-N-Cite will have kept track of which articles you are citing and automatically format a bibliography of just those items in your paper. A few things to keep an eye out for with RefWorks. First, be sure to log into RefWorks before you begin the exporting process from Ebsco or other databases. This just helps the export process run smoother. It's a good habit to begin your research by logging into RefWorks, then leaving it running in the background while you search for resources in another tab. Also, be sure your pop-up blocker is turned off. As you will notice quickly with RefWorks, it opens a new tab or window with many actions. If your pop-up blocker is turned on, it will prevent RefWorks from opening these new tabs and functioning properly. If you're off campus, be sure you've gone through the off-campus authentication process. And lastly, you will have received a confirmation email when you created your account. Be sure to keep this email as it contains a group code that you may be asked for in the future. RefWorks is a great tool that can really help you with your citations. However, it is important to be familiar with APA style so that you can catch any issues that may arise. RefWorks can do a lot of the work for you, but it is up to you to ensure that the citations it is creating are accurate. The OWL at Purdue is a great resource that you can use to check your citations. They have many examples and templates that you can follow for a variety of citation types. We also have 3 copies of the APA manual on reserve at the library. If you ever would like to take a look at the source, just come to the circulation desk to check out a copy of the manual for a couple hours. If and when you have questions, the reference desk is open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Friday, and 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Sunday. The library itself is open more extended hours than that, but those are the hours a librarian is here and available to help you with your research. You can also email us questions and call us if you are off campus, and we will do our best to troubleshoot your issues. Thank you for your attention today, and I hope to see you in the library.